What is up? What is up? Hope everybody had a fantastic week. Hope you made a ton of money in the markets. In today's video, we'll be doing a recap of where we're currently at as of Friday, September 26th on the price of Bitcoin. I'm also be giving you a refresher on what buyrentbitcoin.com is. If you haven't been there yet, go to buyrentbitcoin.com. So let's check out Bitcoin and see where we're at. Uh-oh. Let's refresh this. So let's see where we finished out the week. Let me move myself over there. Let's look at the 1 year. We're on the daily. So let's put in our support lines here. So we got this support. I think it's more aligned there. And then let's draw out the most recent support here from the bottom. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty clear support line. So we're currently trading at $109K, $600, so just roughly under 110K. We came all the way to a high of about 125K, and now we dropped down to about 109. The lowest recently was about 107K. If we go all the way back to end of January, we're right here. So, I mean, we're right on that support of that previous all-time high at about 109K 500. But after all that tariff drama, we actually collapsed down, and we came all the way down to about, move myself back over. We came all the way back down to about 74K, and then we rocketed it up to about 125. Some people think we're going to test this low here that we put in there, about 98K, before we go higher again. But your guess is as good as mine. But let me go over my thesis and what I think is a better investing strategy. And this isn't financial advice. Do what you want with your own money. But this is just my idea. This is what buy, rent, Bitcoin is all about. So instead of just buying the Bitcoin, say you have 100K today. So I could take that 100K, I could put it into Bitcoin. Roughly almost have, I'm almost going to have one Bitcoin. And say, hey, Bitcoin appreciates 20% a year over the next 10 years. And I'm going to be sitting pretty, right? But unfortunately, I got to hodl. I got to hodl for 10 years. I got to hope, pray that this is going to $1 million. In 10 years, I'm gonna have $1 million because it's going to 10x from here. Maybe it's faster than that. Maybe that 10x is in 5 years, and I hope it is. I hope in your case it is. I hope you're going to get that money. I hope it's going to. I hope it goes to. I hope it goes to 10 million. I hope you make a ton of money off Bitcoin. But I think a more conservative approach and a better approach is that I buy a rental property. I put a tenant in it. And I take that cash flow. So say I have 100K, I could either invest it all in Bitcoin today, or I could go out and buy a $200,000 rental property, put 100K down, and it's generating $2,000 a month in rent. I'm making $1,000 a month in rent and profit or positive cash flow. And I'm taking that $1,000 a month and I'm investing it in Bitcoin. So every month, instead of, going out to dinner, buying stuff on Amazon, I'm taking that $1,000 and I'm reinvesting it and I'm putting it into Bitcoin. And say times get tough, maybe I need that $1,000, maybe I can't invest that into Bitcoin that month. If times get tough with Bitcoin, I don't have any cash flow. So if I have an expense, I got to sell some Bitcoin. So I got less Bitcoin, and that's going to be less appreciation. But if I have that rental property, I like to think of a rental property actually as a crypto miner. So I actually mined, I'm an OG in Bitcoin. So I actually mined cryptocurrency in 2016, 2017. I rode that wave. I have a lot of PTSD. So some of you that are watching this video, you probably didn't live through that. So it was actually my wedding night when Bitcoin hit about $19,000. And I was FOMOing in. I was believing all of the hype. I was a young guy. It was at 19K. I thought it was all the money in the world. And then it crashed. It crashed all the way down. After living through that, I don't want that to happen again. I think Bitcoin is a more proven asset now. It's over $2 trillion. I don't think there's been an asset over $2 trillion that has ever failed. At least that's what Tom Lee says. So I do believe there's longevity, and I do believe it's a good investment. I wish I would have invested more. I wish when I was a young guy in 2017, I should have doubled down. I should have invested more. I'd have been in a better position than I am now. But kind of when you're young, you want quick money. You're not willing to wait. You're not willing to see those things through. But the one thing that has worked for me is real estate. And I have rental properties. I rent them out. I get cash flow every month, and I get to choose to reinvest that cash flow into other assets. And I choose to reinvest some of that into Bitcoin. So instead of putting all my eggs in one basket and buying the Bitcoin, I put it in a rental property that generates cash, and then I buy the Bitcoin, and then hopefully over time you get appreciation. So with real estate, the property usually goes up in value every year. The rents usually go up every year. So your profit margin's higher. You can invest more in Bitcoin every year. And the best thing is, since you have that cash flow, you don't need to sell your Bitcoin. You can just live off that cash flow. But if you want to learn more, please go to buyrentbitcoin.com. That is buyrentbitcoin.com. Hope you have a great night. Hope you have a great week. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.